Good morning, everyone. While we're waiting for others to get in and get settled, now's a good time to grab anything you need to get comfortable. Maybe it's a glass of water or a hot cup of tea or coffee. Also, if you have items at home and you'd like to smudge, it's a good time to grab those items as we begin to ignite the healing within. It's okay if you don't have smudge at home, relatives. We'll send some cleansing, healing, and positive energy your way. It's another sunrise, another sunset. It's a new day, another phase of the moon. Let's reflect on how we're feeling and decide what we need and if and how we're going to move forward on our wellness journey today. Could be just one of those days you just need to reflect. Whatever we need today, that's what we're going to do. It's always a choice for us. Aloha, kakahiaka. Hello and good morning. My name is Malia and I'm a community healer at the HIR Wellness Institute. We are a nonprofit organization that focuses on the mental health and wellness of our relatives of Turtle Island, as well as other Indigenous and underserved communities, and also victims of crime. You can join us here every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m., where we will always breathe, stretch, explore ways of integrating self-care and wellness into our daily lives, and we will always honor you, our cultural traditions, our customs, our ancestry, our strength, and our resilience. And while we're here in the circle of care practicing community-activated medicine, I'd like to take a moment to recognize our HIR Wellness team members who are here with us today. We have one of our social work interns here with us, an outstanding woman as well, Mariah Jensen. Good morning, Mariah. How you doing? And we also have Odessa stopping in. Odessa, how you doing? So glad you're here. And we also have our occupational therapist with us, Claudia Meyer-Smith. Claudia, Mariah, myself, and even Odessa, even though she's just stopping in, we're all here with our different unique gifts, our own insights, our own talents. For you, relatives, we each bring a different healing aspect. Again, myself as an advocate and a community healer. Claudia is here for you in occupational therapy. That's the mind-body connection, the sensory connection, so that you can live your best life. Mariah is a social work intern, which means that she can help those of our relatives, for you out there who need help with advocacy or who need help with counseling and therapy. And Odessa too. We have an extraordinary team. And to our relatives out there, I want to say hello and good morning. We're so glad that you're here with us today. Hi, Maria. Aloha. I see you there. Thanks for being here. You are always welcome here to comment, check in, let us know how you're doing. You can ask questions. You can even share your own personal insights, your own wisdom, your own ancestral wisdom, your own cultural wisdom, your own intuition. You can always share here. This is a safe place. This is a safe place for you to come as you are. Believe me, relatives, I come as I am. When you see me in the morning, I just got up. Sometimes I still got the sleep in my eyes. In fact, right now, sorry, TMI, but I do. You just come as you are. You can always be truthful about how you're feeling. And we're here for you, not just me, not just our HIR Wellness team, but all of our relatives. I encourage you all to remember that when we're practicing community activated medicine, that means that people are the medicine. And that means when you're feeling like you need some support, you feel like you need people to hold space for you, you feel like you need to let it out, that all of us here are ready to hold space for you, to provide you with emotional support. But that also means when we're practicing community activated medicine, that others have the ability to lean into you. That means that you're the healer too. And that's my purpose here as a community healer. Again, I will say again, over and over again, I'm not a medicine woman. I wish I was. I'm not a shaman. I wish I was. My purpose here is to remind you that each and every one of us relatives have within us the ability to do our own part of our healing. And we also have the ability to walk shoulder to shoulder or allow others to lean into us when they feel that they need the support. We're all the healers in community activated medicine. We can provide the support. And with that, let's do a check-in. How you doing today, relatives? How you feeling? Always feel free to type how you're doing when we check in. And you can check in beginning, middle, or end of these videos. And we can reflect on it. But you don't have to type in the comment section. The most important thing is just take a moment for yourself to just check in with your body and your mind. Check in with your heart and your spirit. And how are you doing? Because once you can identify what you're feeling, then the path forward on that path of wellness and self-care and mental health, it's a little bit easier to see the next step in front of us. And truthfully, whether we're walking, whether we're like sprinting and running, whether we're crawling, or whether you're on your path right now and you reflect and you're like, you know what? I don't even have a step in me. I don't got it. I'm just going to sit down. Maybe there's that boulder in your path, whatever that is. You can just sit down and lean into it and contemplate. It's all a good step, or no step. It's all good. And the beauty of your path and your journey is that you get to decide. It is your sacred right to choose what, how, when, where, and why. Nobody can tell you. I can't tell you. You get to determine what's best for you. And when you come across that path and you see the boulders, or you are coming across, you're intersecting where other people are on their path and you're together in those moments, or for that time, or in that relationship, and they have their agendas, they have their path, you have your path. It's still our choice. But sometimes you might need those extra tools. You may need to access your medicine kit. Those actions, those techniques, those healing methods, those self-care actions, those wellness actions. That's what your medicine kit is. And then you decide, and your kit doesn't look like anybody else's. It's kind of like Minecraft. You know, I look at my son and he's got all these things in his kit, like a little axe and matches and whatever else they have. I don't even know what they have. Food rations. But his kit's not the same as his friends. They all need different things. And yes, I totally just did a video game comparison. So my apologies. But let's check in and see how our relatives are doing. But first, before we do that, let's do a quick body scan for those of our relatives who maybe you're having trouble identifying how you're feeling and what you need today. The best way we can get to that identification is a body scan. At least that's what I think. You connect to the body, then you can understand what your body's trying to tell you about the rest of you. And with that, I want you to pay attention to areas where you're feeling maybe tension, physical discomfort, maybe your shoulders are feeling tight. Maybe it might manifest as pain in your body. So let's just scan from head to toe. Whenever I scan my forehead, I like to rub my temples. You don't have to. You can do whatever you want. So I'm going to just scan down, paying attention to areas where I might be feeling tension, discomfort, or pain. How does your head feel? Your forehead, your jaw? Is your jaw tight, or does it feel neutral? We're going to scan down to our neck and our shoulders, paying attention to, are your shoulders up here, or do we need to relax them? Let's scan the chest. Is it tight, or do you feel neutral? Down to the tummy. Perhaps your tummy, maybe you had a good breakfast, or maybe your tummy feels empty. Maybe it feels full. Maybe it's indigestion or neutral. And we're going to scan on down to our hips. Sometimes we hold a lot of tension there. Is there any hip pain or discomfort? To our legs and our knees. Sometimes I feel pain in my knees, often actually. We're going to go down to our calves and our ankles, our heels, the arches of our feet, and our toes. Let's work our way back up to our back and our shoulders and our lower back. And finally, let's take a look at our arms, our elbows, our forearms, our wrists, our palms and fingers. Let's scan our heart. Are there feelings or emotions that are lying heavy there? Or perhaps your heart feels full. And at last, let's scan our thoughts. Are there things that are circulating in your mind that maybe kept you up late at night? Are there perhaps memories that pop into your mind on random days from some sort of trigger that happens out there? Next thing you know, you're stuck on a memory that was painful. Are you worried about the future? Or is your mind present? Is your mind invigorated or well rested? Are you feeling ready for the day? And with that, relatives, if you want to check in, let's reflect on it. Odessa says, I'm doing well, busy today, but feeling motivated. Got to the Institute early, so I thought I would allow myself to start my morning with some healing from the space. Odessa, you're always a rock star. Yeah, that's awesome to know you're there. There early, ready to slay. Do your thing, Odessa. Glad you're doing good today. Maria says, thank you for what you do. You're welcome, Maria. I love what I do. This is my favorite part of my day, is being with you all. The only thing that I wish we were doing this in sitting in a circle physically. I can't wait for that day to happen. You're welcome, Maria. Marilyn says, thank you for your guidance. You're welcome, Marilyn. And relatives out there, remember too, you can always give your insight to and guide others. Trust your intuition. Trust it. In Hawaiian, we call that intuition, like our gut knowing. We call that our na'au in our gut. But we have, like in Hawaiian language in Ololo, Hawaii, we have different areas of knowing. We have it like in our gut, and we have it in our mind. In our mind, or when we see things from a level of not necessarily physically seeing, but like seeing here, we call that ike. Hi, Kristen. How you doing? Kristen, let me know how you are. I hope you're well today. Thank you for being with us, Kristen. Glad you're here. Karen, good morning. How are you doing today, Karen? Hope you're well. And Indigo, so glad you're here. We have so many amazing, amazing relatives with us. You all are. Claudia says, as you were saying this about sitting down on the rock, I got the picture of someone else noticing who is also walking along, who sits down quietly, saying nothing, yet their presence is support and being seen. I picture this with Cam. That's so beautiful, Claudia. So, yeah, on our journeys, right, relatives? I mean, I wish our journey was just sun-filled and we're just tra-la-lying along in life, because our wellness path and our self-care path and our path of life, our journey in life, it's all synchronous, right? It's happening at the same time. It's essentially the same thing. It's different aspects of the same thing. And I wish our path was just filled with sunshine all the time, but it's not. So is life, right? And when we come across those boulders and we intersect with those other people, and we're experiencing, what I always say, the ebb and the flow. The tide is sometimes high, the tide is sometimes low. When we're feeling, like we're either feeling periods of darkness or light, that's like the moon. Sometimes it's dark, it's still there. Sometimes it's bright and light, like this past weekend we had the full moons. I don't know, how was your energy feeling? A little up? Mine was. Sometimes, it's like the mountain peaks and the valleys. Sometimes we feel high up and we feel high above everything and things are outstanding and we feel like we're rising and we feel like we're elevated. And then other times it's all of a sudden like we're in the valley and it's like things are darker and things don't seem so, we don't feel so elevated and that's, so is life, right? And that's why all of these things in nature are a reminder. They're always there. They change every day. The moon does. The seasons do. The tides do. And it's just a reminder that those changes are okay. And yes, when we come to those boulders, I wish we didn't, but we do, right? That's just sort of like the human condition, is that we do. But when we come to those boulders, and we can lean into each other like Claudia said, just picture when you're at that boulder, sometimes maybe you can push that boulder out of the way. Maybe you can take a hammer and you can just smash that bugger. Maybe that boulder, you need to hurdle over it. Maybe you need to crawl or climb over it, run or jump over it. Maybe you come to that hurdle and you're like, meh, and you just shift your course a couple inches and you walk in a different direction. You got the boulder here, you change the path, all of a sudden you're going this way. Maybe that boulder, you're going straight ahead and you're just going to walk around it. Think about like a river and there's a boulder there and, a leaf or a lotus comes floating along. It doesn't have to get stuck there, it might just float around. Maybe on your path and journey you intersect with somebody else and you see them sitting at that boulder. And you're like, you know what? I got time. I'm going to sit here and hold some space. And that's exactly what you're doing right now, relatives. That's exactly what we're doing for each other. We might as well be, I don't know, the image I see is all sitting around a campfire. In this case, a morning campfire. We're just sitting around, just being there for each other. And sometimes that's the only medicine that we need at any given moment. So check in, relatives. Let us know how you're doing. Indigo, how you doing? Lori, good morning. Kristen says, started out feeling anxious, but I'm ready to start my morning prayer reflection and exercise. Ready to get to work and enjoy the sun. Yes, Kristen, thank you for sharing. That's a reminder to us, relatives. I think sometimes too in this Western world that we generally live in, is we forget that we can reflect and we can pray and we can slow down. Sometimes that answer is here within us. So I had this thought, in fact, I think it was on Sunday. Do you ever have a problem and instead of sitting with it, you immediately Google the problem and you're like looking on Reddit, like, what's my answer? What's my answer? Or you're just trying to find the top 10 things for whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes I think we're so used to looking for those external sources to give us the comfort that we need that we forget that it's right. Spirit is right here with us. It's right within us. And that reflection and that prayer and just allowing yourself to like turn off your phone, shut your laptop up, turn off your TV or tablet, turn off those external sources and just be. And just sit with it. And to just sit with it. That's our na'au. That's our intuition. That's our gut. Na'au. That's what we call it in Olelo, our na'au. And to just trust it. And you know, connecting to spirit, I'm not saying you have to connect to the creator, or you have to connect to your religion, or you have to connect to, you don't have to connect to any which way anyone tells you to. You connect in your own way. Maybe you're agnostic. Maybe you're spiritually open to things. Maybe you don't even believe that there's that there. Then you just connect to yourself. For me, I like when I connect to spirit, it's through nature, it's through Mother Earth, it's through the Creator, it's through natural cycles. But some people it might be scripture. For some of you, it might be whatever you need, relatives. However you connect. No one, again, I'm going to say this again, and I mean this for your spiritual practices or lack thereof, is that nobody can tell you how to walk your wellness path. Nobody can tell you. I can't tell you. I don't want to tell you. I can, every time we meet, I can give you tools and techniques and we can reflect on it. I can walk shoulder to shoulder with you, relatives, we all can with each other. We can sit there at that boulder together. We can sit at that campfire in community activated medicine, but ultimately it's your choice, and that is a sacred choice. In my opinion, that's a sacred choice. Claudia says, good morning to Beth, sending love. Tina says, I'm feeling grateful this morning. Good morning, Tina. Thanks, Malia, Claudia, and the whole team at HIR Wellness for all that you do. You're welcome, Tina. Thanks for being you. So, and when we talk about how, or when I say, you know, our wellness and self-care, I know those are buzzwords that you're hearing a lot all around us in the media. These are kind of buzzwords that, wellness and self-care can sound kind of like trite, I guess. Like, what does it mean? And is that just a trend? And like, why does it matter? It sounds some people say it sounds corny, you know, but wellness and self-care, here's why. We all walk with pain. We all walk with trauma. And I know trauma can sound like a very ambiguous and kind of a scary word, but we all have had those pains that have made an effect on the way that we live our lives, on the way that we're kind of wired to think when we are developing and growing, even before we were born. You know, what trauma was your parents experiencing? What hormonal signals, you know, if your mom was going through trauma, if your mom was going through a hard time, how does that affect you when you're developing in the womb? And then when you're born and you're going through, relatives, you may remember, I know I do, I don't know if I'm just the only one, but you may remember those painful experiences. You can probably remember experiences when you were little where there was a pivotal moment that maybe you won't ever forget. And then we carry that. And then we have the trauma where, you know, there's these disappointments, these relationships. Maybe it's abuse. Maybe it's neglect. Maybe it's whatever it is. You know, it can be all these things. And then we continue on in these traumas. Maybe something happened in your life that, you know, is still haunting you. And then we walk with that and we carry that. And then what's even more difficult is that in our Western way, we just try to swallow it, right? We just kind of swallow it. No, I'm okay. No, I'm okay. No, it doesn't matter if I show that I'm vulnerable, I'm going to be weak. And then if I'm weak, I'm not worthy. And then if I'm not worthy, no one's going to love me. And then we live in these trauma cycles. So why does self-care and wellness matter? I'm going back to those buzzwords. Because those tools, those actions, those behaviors, those thoughts, those intentions of self-care, they begin to break that cycle of feeling not worthy enough, of feeling shame, of feeling like you don't deserve to be loved, to feel like you're invisible, to feel like your emotions don't matter, so you might as well swallow them, to feel like, that have you ever heard of the imposter syndrome? The syndrome of like, you feel like if people know who you really are, that they're going to reject you. And so you live your life trying to be a certain way or come off a certain way because, if someone really knows the real you, they're going to let you go. Or they're going to think that they're going to see you as a fake or that you're not enough. And relatives, you know what? I struggle with that. Being a community healer, being a person who is in the action of healing on your journey. Healing is not just like one day you're like, all right, I'm going to do 100 acts of self-care and then I'm healed. I'm all good. It's not that way. It's a continual process. It's continual, just like the sun, just like the moon. It's going to happen. It's going to wax and it's going to wane. This process, it ebbs and it flows. And I wish we could just all attend some sort of community event and we're just all healed and it's all good. But no, it takes continual attention. And the beautiful thing about self-care and wellness helping to heal those traumas, because it does, is that a lot of these actions in our medicine kit, your own personal medicine kit of these tools and techniques and modalities and behaviors and reflections, the beautiful part about that is that a lot of self-care and wellness actions are super pleasurable. Yes, self-care and wellness can look like a trip to the spa, but guess what? I don't have money for a spa all the time. Self-care and wellness can look like, a professional massage. Guess what? Yeah, that's great. I love that. But it's not even about that. It can be. Sometimes self-care and wellness means a nap. Sometimes self-care and wellness means taking those actions that are, you don't often carve out time for. Maybe it's going for a walk in nature. Self-care can just be practicing joy. Sometimes I get real deep into life and I'm like, man, when's the last time I was just stupid silly and had a good old time, watching cartoons or telling silly jokes with my son, or just wellness and self-care can be that. It can be whatever you want it to be. You are the master of this. You're the captain. You're the chief. This is your journey. You're in charge. And sometimes it doesn't seem that way, but you are. Again, that's your sacred right. With that being said, though, relatives, sometimes wellness and self-care is doing the hard things. Sometimes it's doing the hard things. And what I mean by that is sometimes our self-care might look like Netflix and ice cream, but sometimes it might be knowing that you need help and reaching out for it. Sometimes wellness and self-care means allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Sometimes it means calling a doctor and you've been putting it off because you don't want to hear what they have to say. Sometimes wellness and self-care means doing the work. It might mean taking a glimpse in that part of you that you feel is not worth being loved. By the way, those are just your feelings. That's your mind lying to you. Because we all deserve to be loved. You deserve to be loved. Sometimes wellness and self-care is allowing yourself to release those horrible feelings of not being enough, or those feelings, those memories. We can't take the memories away of trauma or abuse or violence or sadness or abandonment. but it's doing the work so that those thoughts and that those feelings and those actions and those memories don't get to haunt us in a way that they're going to continue to damage us and not let us live our best life. Self-care and wellness. Every action you take, seemingly small steps, every motion, every thought, every intention, building that foundation of taking care of yourself every day, or moments when you can, even if it's one action a day, maybe it's 100 actions a day or somewhere in between. That is what helps us not only survive, but also thrive. Live your best life. Heal in that trauma and know that it's never going to just be like, oh, I'm all good now. Well, actually, for some people, I know some very few individuals who, life isn't just going to be perfect, but they have gone through so much healing that generally what they give and what they exude is love. That's not all of us. Heck, that's not me. I mean, I love y'all. I'm working on my self-love too, but I'm not always a bundle of joy. That's just not me. I have darkness too. We have our dark sides, just like the moon. Sometimes it's dark. Still the moon. We have our shadow selves. We all have our inner child. Indigo says, I'm okay this morning, a little annoyed at having wasted the last few days pursuing an art lottery I never imagined to get into, but trying to let it go. Have a good day ahead. Indigo, thank you for sharing. And you know what? I love, Indigo, I'm not happy that you're annoyed, but I love that you shared that you are annoyed. Because that's the other thing too, relatives. It's not, we're human beings. And when we have those moments, you don't have to suppress it. You can allow yourself to release that. Because when you have a day where you're annoyed, or a day where you're let down, or a moment where someone disappointed you, or a moment where you're not feeling good enough, or a moment where something just didn't work out, or a moment where, and the next thing you know, you're suppressing 100 annoyances, 100 whatever, and people are walking around and they're like, how you doing? And you're like, I'm good. And it's a big lie. Like, you're not good. I'm not saying you have to express that you're great to every stranger at the grocery store, but give yourself that moment. Give yourself that moment here if you want to, where you're like, you know what, I'm not good. Not okay today. Not all right. And just allow yourself to release it. Lori says, yes, it's nature for me as well. I know when I'm feeling some kind of way, I find comfort and peace in watching and hearing what nature provides. That's awesome, Lori. Thank you for sharing. And with spring coming, relatives, we can connect more comfortably anyway, walking outside with some sunshine. Terrell, how you doing? Good morning. So with that, I taught tapping the last couple weeks. Let's go ahead through tapping. Relatives, if you haven't yet done tapping, know it's real easy to do. Tapping is also known as acupressure. We have meridian points in our body. Now I'm going to talk here about scientific research. This is not like magic. This isn't witchery, although I think witchery and magic is very interesting and cool. That's not what this is. We're talking about meridian points in our body that energy flows through. So our bodies actually create electricity, which is really, really awesome. Like, we are energetic conduits, conductors. Like, we're just amazing physiologically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Like, human beings, man, we're just extraordinary creatures. We do create energy, and when it passes through these meridian points in our body, we can actually tap onto these points for when we're experiencing a negative emotion, feeling, anxiety, stress, insomnia. So with that, relatives, if you are feeling any sort of negative which way, For me, it's exhaustion today. I am feeling exhausted, but maybe it's an emotion, maybe it's a past experience, maybe you're feeling worried about something. Identify whatever it is. And I'm going to type in the comment box, even though I'm feeling, and then you're going to fill in the blank. You can just read the comment box, and then whatever which way. I want you to be specific. So exhausted, I'm feeling exhausted, but that's not specific enough, okay? So even though I'm feeling exhausted and want to go back to sleep, then we're going to say, even though I'm feeling whatever you're feeling, the next part you're going to say is, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And the reason we're doing this is because whatever those negative emotions you're feeling, trauma, anxiety, stress, tension, anger, sadness, insomnia, worry, any of those feelings, when we experience those negative feelings, we have this little thing called the amygdala. It's part of our brain. It's our lizard brain. It is truly like, it's like what reptiles have as their brains. This part of our brain is responsible for our survival. So we have 3 responses when we are feeling these negative thoughts: fight, flight, or freeze. And when we're wired to go to that part of our brain, those of us who are anxious all the time, we're stressed out all the time, for some reason, that path in our brain, it just goes right to the amygdala, goes right there, and we're stressed out and we're feeling whatever negative feelings. And then we release cortisol. Cortisol is that stress hormone. It's for survival. And the next thing we know, we're more stressed out. And then that path gets buried deep. And then our brain is always wired to go to that part. So what we do when we're tapping, we're going to switch that wiring. We want to switch those neural pathways. We want to bring our thoughts to the frontal lobe where we can think logically, where we're not in a life or death stress reaction response, when we can relax. We can begin to repair the stress and the trauma, just by being here instead of being elsewhere. That's what tapping does. We can rewire that energy. Claudia says, in my sensory world, rhythm is primary. It informs and directs energy in our body towards what we need and what it wants to do. Rhythm helps us organize our actions. And that's what tapping's all about. Okay, so identify that negative feeling. All right, and we're going to start tapping. First, step 1, identify the feeling and how you're feeling. If you're not feeling an adverse or a negative feeling, that's awesome. You can still tap. You don't have to come up with an affirmation or anything. Step 2, on a scale of 1 to 10, decide the gravity of the feeling. So for me, I'm feeling exhausted and overwhelmed. So a scale of 1 to 10, a 1 would be like, it's not affecting me at all. I'm living my best life. And a 10 would be like, this is so horrible, it's unbearable, I can barely stand it. Okay, so scale of 1 to 10, that emotion that's not serving you, what's that number? For me, I'm at about a 6.5. Some days it's bigger, some days it's smaller. I'm about a 6.5. Okay, so let's tap. We're going to start with our hands 5 to 10 times, and we're going to go with that affirmation. Even though I'm feeling exhausted because of so much to do today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Okay, next area. Even though I'm feeling exhausted because I have so much to do today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm feeling exhausted because I have so much to do today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Under the bony part here, even though I'm feeling exhausted because I have so much to do today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. In front of the eyebrows. Even though I'm feeling exhausted because I have so much to do today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Okay, let's go ahead above the lip. Even though I'm feeling exhausted because I have so much to do today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Below the lip, above the chin. Even though I'm feeling exhausted today because I have so much to do, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Let's go by the rib cage. You can pat sternum. Even though I'm feeling exhausted because I have so much to do today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm feeling exhausted because I have so much to do today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. It's knocked by the ribcage. Even though I'm feeling exhausted because I have so much to do today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm feeling exhausted because I have so much to do today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm feeling exhausted because I have so much to do today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. So that was step 3. We just did the actual tapping. Take a deep breath. And exhale. If you need to, we're going to go ahead and stretch the neck just from side to center. Breathing through it. Let's go ahead and double tap the ear towards the shoulder. Double tap. And then we're going to roll our chin from shoulder to shoulder, keeping it in the front. And we're going to look down gently towards our lap. And up towards the ceiling. That was step 3, the tapping. And final step 4. On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling now? I was at a 6.5. I think now I'm down to about a 4. But maybe for you, the tapping, maybe your number stayed the same. Maybe your number even increased. Or maybe it only reduced by about 1 point or so. If you're feeling that way, you can always do it again. You can start from the top, working your way to the different points until you feel better. I want to say mahalo nui loa. Thank you so much for joining us today, relatives. I want you to know that we're here for you. Ma'alama pono I kino. Take good, righteous care of your body, your mind, your heart, and your spirit. Relatives, if you need some extra support, do reach out to someone that you trust that you can talk to. Maybe it's a family member or a friend. It might even be a coworker that you trust. And also, you can call our CARES warm line. You could text it too. It's open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can call or text, and within 24 hours, you'll get a response back from one of our CARES warm counselors. I'm one of them. Sometimes you can reach me, sometimes it's not me. We'll hold space for you. We'll listen to you with dignity and respect, stigma-free, judgment-free. Not only can we provide you with emotional support, but with all the resources that might be helpful for you. There's other agencies out there. There's other organizations out there. We can help try and connect you to them. Resources in advocacy, safety planning, shelter, and so much more. You're not alone, relatives. May you have moments today throughout the day. Moments of peace, moments of actions of self-care, radical self-compassion, and radical self-love. Judy, I'm so glad you're feeling better. Good to see you, Judy. Terrell says going to have to study some on tapping. Yes, emotional freedom tapping. There's a lot of excellent resources out there. There's even a lot of peer-reviewed resources, research-based articles. Do your research, relatives, if you want to learn more about EFT, emotional freedom tapping, acupressure. It's fascinating. Judy, so glad to see you, Judy Nicholas, as well. Good morning. Hope you're doing well, too. Aloha nui, relatives. So much love to y'all out there. Be kind to yourself today. Take it slow if you need to. Practice acts of self-care and self-love, wellness. Before we go, there is a community survey that's linked to this video. It's completely anonymous. It asks just a few questions. Relatives, please take it. Take the survey. This is how we're able to keep our services completely free. Our founder, Leah, knew when she founded the HIR Wellness Institute that it would never cost a penny to heal. However, in order to keep these services going, this survey, that's the golden ticket. That's how we're able to keep these services going. All of my videos, and I'm not the only one doing videos throughout the day. We have programs 7 days a week. Check out our Facebook Lives. They're all incredible. There's healers, there's advocates, there's counselors, there's occupational therapists, there's programs for children, there's programs for adults, there's programs for... Anyways, we got lots of services for you, so please take that survey. You know what else the survey helps with is to help us understand how best to serve you. We all have different pains and trauma, and it helps us to understand what everybody needs attention for. Look, we have all of our community healing support here. Indigo says it's a super quick survey. Terrell says, how often should we take the survey? You take it as often as you have time for it. That's great, because some days our needs feel different than they might the next day. So whenever you can, that's so much appreciated, relatives. You guys are awesome. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow at 8 a.m. Ahui hoaku no. We'll see you later. Indigo, you're awesome. Yes, love you, Indigo. Ahui hoaku no. We'll see you all later. Hope to see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. And aloha.